Congress could be wise about how they spend the people's money. They got to make sure this supplemental comes to me at a rate that I'll accept, $92.2 billion plus money for the pandemic flu.
Or the Global 2000 discussions that we had, the real problem that they have, as Kissinger says, is there's just too many people on the planet. And 40% of the world, 2 billion of us, exist on less than $2 a day. The summary of the Global 2000 report I put up on my website, nohoax.com, but if you look at it, it makes sense to get rid of people. So what they said, they're going to make godlike decisions on who lives and who dies. The inside of the game, when we started to use neutron bombs, today they figure that biologicals are much cheaper. They're still planning on, the plan is to get a war started in the Middle East. And that's to begin World War III, which is all in the cards. And it's going to happen.
But I had been reading about, population reduction plans. And so I asked him, is it true? And I have this on tape too. He says, yes, we have to, in order to protect the environment, we need to reduce the world population to 2 billion. And war just doesn't do it, so we're going to try to use disease and starvation. Right? And, I'd already found out that SARS was a bioweapon targeted at Asians. So this is very disturbing. So they're talking about killing 4 billion people.
Flu mist vaccine, which is so widely available in Walmart and so on, and was being made available to, quote, treat seasonal flu so that if anybody got flu, people would know that it was avian flu, which is beyond insane. High doses of vitamin C, now we're talking about 300 grams of vitamin C in IVs per day for 3 days, will prevent the pathogenesis that causes death in humans. Death occurs through a rapid depletion of vitamin C, which is like a fulminating scurvy. The capillaries and blood vessels of the lungs
shut down.
Allow you to basically drown in your own blood. So if you can supply the vitamin C, then the immune system can kick in about 3 days and take care of the virus.
Let me say one other thing about H5N1. In the packets of flu mist, you say there were 2 genetic packets in flu mist. So what they were doing was sewing 2 new genetic docking mechanisms for H5N1 in the people that were taking the flu mist. Am I correct?
Precisely. And since people shed the viruses, the attenuated live viruses from the flu mist treatment, or mistreatment, let us say, for up to 3 weeks, anyone who comes into contact with a person who has used flu mist, who is, for instance, a baby, or a person who is on steroids, or a person who has had chemotherapy or other immune suppressive drugs or conditions, and that's about 66 million Americans, becomes vulnerable to infection caused by this supposed inoculum.
Now, we've heard a lot lately about MRSA, and this is an article entitled MRSA Bacteria Outbreaks Getting Worse and More Deadly. A new and dangerous superbug that kills within 24 hours has begun to spread across the industrialized world. The bacteria is called PVL, producing MRSA, which stands for methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. The PVL toxin destroys white blood cells and usually causes boils and other skin complaints. But if it infects open wounds, it can cause necrotizing pneumonia, a disease that rapidly destroys lung tissue and is lethal in 75% of all cases. Mild silver protein protocol for MRSA, general adult dosage would be 1 to 3 teaspoons depending on body weight of the 5,000 part per million in mild silver protein every 2 hours until asymptomatic. This 5,000 part per million silver and food grade hydrogen peroxide should also be applied topically over the infection with DMSO if possible. Common usage would be moderate to severe infections, mutated colds, virulent flu, AIDS, Lyme disease, eczema. It's probably, it is the most cost-effective strength. You can dilute this particular strength to any other strength that you want to make, and in that regard, it's very, very cost-effective. And then you have the 5700 ES7 strength, which is for moderately to severe infections and for hepatitis C. This is an extra strength for tissue penetration. There's also the colloidal silver desk reference guide for specific health problems. For those who are seeking help regarding specific diseases, maladies, and health problems, you can go to my website and at dr-johnson.com. You click on the doctor's desk reference. Near the top of the website, the maladies and diseases are in alphabetical order with specific instructions relating to each problem.